Hello everyone and happy Pride Month. So there are a couple books that I researched and I want to read for the month of June, which is Pride Month. I know I'm doing this a little late, but it's never too late to read LGBTQ books. So let's get started. The first book I want to read is George by Alex Gino. This is a middle grade series about George, who is transgender. However, no one knows this and only sees her as a boy. She thinks that she has to keep this a secret forever, but one day her class is going to put on a play, Charlotte's Web, and George really wants to be Charlotte, but the teacher said that she can't because she is a boy. And this makes her very sad, but then her best friend comes up with a plan that she can be Charlotte and maybe finally let everyone know who she really is. So I really want to read this because I think that it's great that there is a book like this for such a young audience. And I think if this world is ever going to be more accepting, you need to teach your kids at a young age so they know that it's not weird, and then they can learn and understand it if they meet someone who's transgender or if they themselves are confused. The next book I want to read is Annie on My Mind by Nancy Garden. This is a young adult book. It's about two teenage girls whose friendship blossoms into love. And what made me really want to read this was that it said that in the 90s this was banned from most school libraries, and it was even publicly burned in Kansas City. And so I just want to know why they would do that. I mean, the 90s, for me at least, seems not that far away. And so I can't believe that they were still burning books in the 90s. The next book is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour. This is a young adult book about that it says that Maureen hasn't spoken to anyone from her old life since the day she left everything behind. No one knows the truth about those final weeks, not even her best friend Mabel. But even thousands of miles away from California coast at college in New York, Maureen still feels the pull of life and tragedy she still tried to outrun. Now months later, alone in an empty dorm, winter break, Maureen waits. Mabel is coming to visit, and Maureen will be forced to face everything that has been left unsaid and finally confront the loneliness that has made a home in her heart. And I really do not know what this is about and how that it is LGBTQ, but it does describe it in Goodreads, and it was on a list of books that are queer. So I'm excited to see how this tackles it, and I think that it's great that it's not outwardly saying like this is a queer book, because I think it should be more normalized, and if you're just reading a book, it should just be like, oh hey, there's a gay character or something like along those sorts, without making it like a big deal, because it shouldn't be. The next book is If I Was Your Girl by Meredith Russo. This is another young adult book about Amanda, who is the new girl in school. And she doesn't want to get too close to anyone because the reason that she transferred schools in the middle of senior year is because she's transgender, and she wants to have everyone see her as Amanda and not Andrew, who she was before she transitioned. And as you can see, this won a Stonewall Book Award, and so I know that it will be powerful. I'm excited to read this. I've read other LGBTQ books where they were like a gay couple or someone questioning their sexuality, but never really dealing with transgender, and I'm excited to see how they tackle this because it did win a Stonewall book, so I know that it's done well. Next book is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a young adult mystery book. This is about 18 months after the Raxter School for Girls was quarantined. And it first started that it affected the teachers. The teachers started dying one by one, and then it started to affect the students. And they call it the talks. And so they're completely cut off from the outside world. And the talks has made it dangerous to go outside. It makes like the outside world where they are dangerous. And one of the students by it, I think that's her name, goes missing, and Haiti will stop at nothing to find her. And again, I like that this is like a mystery book, but also queer. And this is the one I'm looking forward to the most because I love mystery books. And I've heard great things about this. The next book I want to read is Boy Erased by Garrett Conley. This is a non-fiction memoir about Garrett, who during college was outed to his parents. And his dad is very religious. He is the pastor, or I don't know what religion he's from, but he's like the head of a church. And so Garrett agrees to go to a church sanctioned conversion camp. And what made me really want to read this is because, well, one, it's a nonfiction book, but conversion therapy, I think that's horrible. I don't think it works. I think it makes kids hate themselves even more. So I'm curious on what happened to him during his time and if he's okay now. And the last book I want to read is Felix Ever After by Kaysen Callender. This is a young adult book about Felix, who is a transgender boy, and first he was outed at his school by having pictures plastered all over of him before he transitioned and his dead name, which the students know that he is transgender, but they never saw pictures of who he was before, and they didn't know his birth name. But now everyone does. And then after that, he starts receiving very transphobic, anonymous messages. And because of this, he's out to find out who did this and seek revenge. I've heard great things about this book, and again, I really like that there are transgender books in the world now, especially geared to younger audiences. And I know this is much more than him being transgender, because it is identified as like he's having like an identity crisis. And so I'm very curious about that, because I personally do not know how that feels, and I want to see how they tackle this and what kids this age go through when they're just trying to find out who they are in a world that is obsessed with labels. So those are all of the books I want to read during Pride Month. Let me know if I should read any other ones. So like and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye!